Greetings, everyone. Welcome back. I'm glad that you all had a little break last week and hope everyone had a fun time for Father's Day. Got to spend some quality time with your kids or with your fathers. Amnon had a little time with his family, and that seemed to go well. Yes, Amnon? You guys
Yes,
had
it was
fun?
great.
Awesome. And I hear your daughter cooked for you.
Yes, she did.
Was it good?
Good.
Nice job.
Yep.
So good job to his daughter for cooking a scrumptious dinner.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and so it was kind of nice to have a little break. And we're coming back, and I had that week to just, like I always do, observe. And that is like the word. Today I was teaching my yoga teacher training, and one of my students said, she was talking about being at a family like reunion situation and how it's interesting to get everyone to feel like they're all getting to do what they want and without any tension because everybody's trying to make everybody happy. And so we were talking about that, and she was like, "Yeah, it was really interesting to observe." And I laughed because I'm like, I say that all the time. And life is very interesting to observe. Yeah. We
Of
learn so
course.
much
Of
just from
course.
observing. So some big things happened while we were away since last time I was on here live. Our Congress apparently decided to come into alignment on some things. So woohoo for our country. That was pretty awesome sign from my perspective of seeing how much so many are working towards equality and just aligned living. And that was a pretty big, huge leap for our government, I would say. What do you think, Amnon?
I don't know that that was our government that did it. It was the courts. If you're
Well,
talking
in
about,
like Congress, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't consider. I mean, that's the judicial. I
Yeah.
don't consider them part of the government. It's the Supreme Court. It's the
Yeah. I guess I lump that into government,
yeah.
like court systems and all that. But what do you feel about that choice and that shift personally? See, I'm getting you involved in the discussion
I
today.
mean, it's fine. It's about time. I mean, and you're talking about the uh, gay marriage
Yeah. Yeah, like marriage equality for anybody.
yeah. I mean, it's about time that this happened.
Indeed.
It's been going around the world forever and ever. I mean,
Hmm.
we're coming here at the end, kind of like, okay, we're gonna go through the finish line now. No, I
Yeah.
mean, come on. This is nothing.
It's like
Nothing.
about time.
Yeah, it is about time, and it's like it was ridiculous. It's on and off, and on and off, and on and off, and in North Carolina, it's really bad
Yeah.
because it's by law you can get married, but when you go to the magistrate to get the license or for them to marry you, yeah, I mean, when you get married in the church, that's nothing. That doesn't. This is just ceremony. The real
Yeah.
marriage is happening when you go to the
Have it be
magistrate.
acknowledged. Yeah.
They can refuse you if it goes against their personal belief. So a magistrate can turn you away and say, "No, I'm not going to marry. I'm not going to allow you to." And as far as I know, it's still going on. I'm waiting. I mean, they actually passed a law that says that they can refuse.
Hmm. Which I do
Well, let's
think,
not
I
get
think,
into the politics now because it's a mess. I mean,
yeah,
it's in
exactly.
let's concentrate on the positive. It's
Yes.
happening, and
Yeah.
people can be happier, and
Yes.
people can become whole, and call
And
it
just
whatever
feel
you want.
treated equal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like you're saying, I feel like it's like when kind of like during civil rights when people were resisting that for so long and in the South they got kind of a bad rap, but there was a lot of people that owned slaves and they kind of were looking at how that was going to change their life, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like crap. We
yeah.
can't own people and those people actually work for me and without them I am going to be in trouble cuz like I can't run this plantation on my own. And so I think it's like a lot of the agenda of how it's going to personally affect people at times. But just like then, they finally got to be on the right side of the fence, or I would call it more the aligned side of the fence,
Hmm.
rather than right or wrong, but just an aligned space where this equality for anyone to love who they love and marry who they love, it is about time. And really, it's been something that I feel is the aligned choice from the beginning of time. But we're finally at a place where we're acknowledging that, and people are kind of, okay, I guess it's happening. You know what I mean? Even, and I think it's kind of like I observe people that maybe have a very strong belief system. And in some cases, I've seen some of the news. Like, I don't watch the news, but I see stuff on Facebook come up, and then I'll check into the stories. Like, I heard a rumor that some preacher threatened to set himself on fire if the marriage law passed,
Oh well.
and then he went back on his word and said, no, no, I meant like I'm on fire to stop this. And big picture, I feel like everyone eventually is going to get to that place where this is a really big planet, and we don't all need to participate in each other's belief systems or each other's way of life, but it will be an amazing choice for each of us to honor each other's path. Like, if Amnon wants to marry his wife, and maybe she's, a Catholic and he is Hindu, and they love each other, like, what is it my business if they get married? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And that's been happening on the planet for a long time with religion. It's happened if she's white and he's black. It's now, now if it's a man and a man or a woman and a woman. And big picture, you don't have to be gay. And that's kind of where I feel speaking about it, is that it doesn't mean you're condoning behavior. If you don't think it's cool to have a sexual encounter with the same sex, then don't do it.
Right.
But if somebody else falls in love with someone of the same sex, don't shame them. Don't try to beat them up in the alley, or try to, heckle them or degrade them, hold back health benefits from them. I just think that is bullying, and that's not showing honor for life. So that's kind of the way I look at it, is like, if we all come to this place where we honor life, we can honor each other, that's going to benefit all of us on this planet. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty fabulous. And I was just like, oh my God, that just happened. Like, it was just kind of like, wow. And I agree that it's about time, but it was also a little bit of a shock. Like, whoa, go US, like, go court systems for actually finally acknowledging that. And I think it's going to, like you said, help people just feel more whole and loved and valued. Kind of like, in the 70s, the women's rights movements. And then finally the women are like, finally, I'm going to get hired and not feel like I'm treated way less because I'm a
Hmm.
woman. So it's like we've been doing this on the planet with everything,
And
but
and
really we need to be treating each other with honor, period.
and again, with women's rights,
Hmm.
this is something. I mean, the U.S. was not the leader in that. I mean, it's
Exactly.
been going around all around the world in many countries. The women were equal.
They were leaders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and finally it happened here.
Yeah.
So, but the saying is better late than never.
Yes. And then there's countries still at this time on
Right.
this planet that treat women like crap. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's all happening. But I just felt like, let's acknowledge that, because I was like, yay, that is a sign of alignment happening to me in the collective. So when we're talking about each of our belief systems and how we can be the change, that's how it starts. And that is very important. But when we see enough of us being the change, we see enough of us showing up with honor, with integrity, living authentically, it is paying off globally. We're going to start seeing more and more of the collective consciousness shifting because of our courage to choose that alignment. So I
Hmm.
wanted to really acknowledge that, like, yay, that's a sign to me that the collective is shifting in a more aligned direction. So good job. Um, so today, this past week, I was observing a lot as a healer. I just did a Sacred Soul Sister gathering last night, and last week we had Empowering Empath and these different workshops I do. Where when I'm working with my healing clients over the last few weeks, I see this theme that I felt like this is something I really want to touch on, is love. And what does that even really mean? And I'm calling this like the love revolution. And if we could all get into this space of alignment in ourselves where we stop putting off our own need to love ourselves for any other reason, we don't let our work be more important. We don't let our partners be more important. We don't allow our children to be more important. We don't allow, what people think of us to be more important. And we start to really get to this place where we decide we're going to love ourselves no matter what. And so that's in every part of our life, that's going to be important. And last night, when I was working with these women in the circle, they were young girls, and we got into this really great discussion about body image and about like what causes their suffering and why they think they're not enough. And they were, kind of sharing with me just the way society is, what they see on TV when they look at beauty magazines. Like they basically feel like crap after they look at a beauty magazine long enough. And we started to discuss that, like how if we take our own power back and we love ourselves, we don't really need to compete with anyone else. And I observe how, I had a woman recently, she's like, I really want to come to your gathering, Tawnya, and I miss coming, and I miss some of the girls that came before. But I just feel like when we have these like shamanic experiences, they're having these amazing experiences where they're flying around on a dragonfly's back and it's very magical. And then she has nothing happening. And so she's like, I just feel like, I'm not good at it. And so then she stopped coming. And so I responded to her and I said, if you keep showing up and you stop comparing to others, you'll get out of your own way. So if we come, like when I was talking to the girls last night and they were saying about, their body image, if there's a girl that's really beautiful and they're getting a lot of attention, then in their own brain, they start thinking, oh, I suck, I'm not pretty, no one loves me. And they get that record playing that vibrationally is actually causing them great suffering. And overall, it's not helping them love themselves and it's not helping them even love the people they're around. And this is where I feel like I kind of called it the wounded girl and then the empowered woman. And there's a big difference. And this goes for men too: wounded boy, empowered man. And when we're wounded girl or wounded boy, we're competing, we're comparing, we're feeling like we're not enough. We're always looking at what they have and then degrading ourselves. And we play a lot of games, we manipulate, we gossip, we're vengeful, we're jealous. All those heavy suffering energies are what happens when we're in that wounded girl or wounded boy energy, which in essence is our wounded aspects of ourself, what I call the wounded ego or the shadow self. And it's choosing our choices for us. So here's a woman, she wants to come and she wants to develop her psychic gifts. She wants to empower herself, but she shuts herself down because she's not doing it good enough. She's not doing it as good as they're doing it. So then she just drops it all together, which is probably not going to help her develop that strength. It's kind of like, as a personal trainer, I also do the fitness thing. And being a trainer and an instructor for years, I've observed the same thing. People come in, like I've had like guys come to my yoga and they're like, oh, I'm not flexible at all. I suck at this. And I'm like, you know what? You're in the perfect place then. Because if you suck at yoga and you suck at being flexible, what better place to be? Because the whole point of coming to yoga and the whole purpose is to cultivate flexibility. It's to cultivate more self-love. So if your ego's saying you suck, probably a great idea that you're here learning how to love yourself. But we have to see that our egos make our choices sometimes, and then they say, oh, I suck at that, let's go. And now there's no chance that you're going to cultivate flexibility. There's no chance you're going to cultivate that self love because you just walked away from the very experience that could help you with that. So, when we're in that place where we're comparing to others and even comparing to ourselves, we could have been awesome at something, or, we look back in the past, like when I was 20, man, I was awesome, but now I suck. And so we're comparing to ourselves and we have this fantasy of the old self and we'll create suffering there. Or a lot of younger people I observe, they worry and stress too much about the future. And so they're constantly in anxiety about their future experience. And that takes away from their being able to enjoy the now, the present moment. So we were talking about this self-love experience, and this was the theme. And I'm like, I feel like so much in my life has helped me to really understand this so that I can be a leader and express this truth to everyone, not because of theory or because it just sounds good, but from actual experience and from actual meditation and processing and self-love and clearing myself and coming into that place where I understand that no matter what happens, and the world can be mean and there can be people who can show up in your movie to test the shit out of you. But if you can respond with love, you are going to succeed no matter what is happening. And so let's say someone's heckling you and they're bullying you, cyberbullying, that's a pretty big thing these days. People bullying, they're saying mean things. And that person can take that personally. They can feel crappy. They can worry about what everyone else thinks and they can suffer greatly. Or they can observe that, speak their truth about it, and say, maybe get on there and they're in their warrior bit like, hey, this is really not cool. And I'd really appreciate if people would show honor. And if not, I'm going to clear you out of my friend list. And that's self love. That is actually having a boundary. If you're in your house and there's people that you let stay in your house and they treat you terribly, they're not respectful, there may come a day where you're like, I invited you in with love. You can't show love back. That's cool. And I'm going to honor you in that choice. But you need to go somewhere else and be like that because that's not going to, it doesn't feel good to me and it doesn't feel loving. That's teaching that person through your alignment a healthy boundary. And a lot of people that are abusive, they don't understand boundaries because there's no such thing. If you've been abused, you were basically taught that there's no such thing as boundaries. People can do whatever they want to you, or if you're the abuser, you've been taught and believe you can do whatever you want to other people. So how do we deal with that? Because in my life, it has not been perfect. And in my life, I have been bullied, I've been heckled, I've been sexually molested, I've been beaten. True story, all that stuff I've gone through. But why am I still smiling and why am I showing up so optimistic? Why am I now a spiritual leader that helps empower others? Because I learned how to show up with love no matter what's happening. So let's say that somebody says really hateful things to you and they're texting you negative stuff. You can respond and go hateful right back and get vengeful like, oh, well, you're a bitch too. And you like say mean stuff. Usually you don't feel so good and it really upsets you. You might feel physical sensations like your body shakes. You feel short breath, you're tense. That frustration builds. But if we can choose a different direction, when someone shows hate, observe their behavior, observe what's going on, and realize this one important thing. When a human is lashing out at you, I don't care who they are, if they're lashing out and they're saying hateful things to you, they are at war with themselves. They are at battle with their own mind and their own experience, and they are projecting that anger and that fear and that tension, hatred, whatever it is, they're projecting it outward, and you happen to be in the path. So if you can learn not to take it personal, but respond with love, and love responds very differently. This is the part where we have to become very connected to ourselves and very centered in the now. Because sometimes love will say, walk away from this experience or move away from this energy, move away from this human. And sometimes love will say, go closer, hug that human, go express greater love to that human. And it's not a rigid thing. It's not always going to be the same answer. So I can't really tell any of you what you should do on any given moment. I can give you suggestions. As an intuitive healer, I'll give my clients suggestions and I'll tune in intuitively to what I observe. But when it comes down to it, each of you have to take back your power and you have to get present. You have to stop worrying about the future so much and stop worrying about the past so much, living in regret, living in shame, guilt. Totally gonna keep you deeply anchored in that heavy energy. But if we can show up with love, someone says something hateful, and then I look at them and go, they must really be struggling. And sometimes when this happens to me personally, I'll kind of pull away, go on a walk, or go into meditation in my room and just be quiet. And I'll say, angels, what's going on here? Like, this is not feeling good. And they'll help me understand it. They'll bring me clarity. They'll say, this person's hurting very deeply, and it would be best for you to send them love, but release them from your sacred space. Or they'll say things like, this human's hurting deeply, and the loss of you is causing them great pain. You just need to send them love, but you are on the right path, and you need to keep going in this direction where you love yourself. Do not feel guilty and go backwards. So my angels will tell me very different suggestions of a direction that I can choose. But what I've learned is when I don't respond with hatred back, I'm successful. I keep my own alignment. So when someone says something hateful to me and I want to get hateful back, I really become the energy and I vibrationally am matching their frequency of disruption. And now it kind of pulls me into that same energy. But if I see them hurting and I rise anyways and I send them love and I'm like, I love you and I wish the best for you, but I will not tolerate your abuse. And when you're ready, I'll be here. And until then, I won't be in your realm of energy. I will move myself away because I love myself. And sometimes to people I've observed in my life, when I pull away from their energy, they are angry and they get more hateful, more judgmental. But what I realize, and this is where I talk about the sacredness of the dance, it's a slow, steady process. What I've realized is when I pull away and I honor my own alignment and I stay true to myself, if that human or that situation is meant to be in my life, they will go and work on themselves and heal at some level, and they will find a way to come back. And usually they're kind of like, Tawnya, I'm so sorry. I was so out of alignment. Can you please forgive me? I would like to have another chance. And I accept that and I forgive them unconditionally. But I'm not going to be a doormat for people. And this is something that we have to balance. Like, how do we love ourselves and how do we love others? And the people that I've seen, and when I was younger, what I did is I would love others so much. I'd want them to approve of me so deeply that I would ignore my own needs. And then I would feel like a hypocrite and I would feel weak and not powerful because I would stay around their hate and I'd stay around their negativity. And I feel like, honestly, how we teach others how to love more is by showing them through our example. So we're not going to teach others how to love when we stay tolerating their abuse. We're not going to teach others how to love and how to have healthy boundaries when we stay attached codependently to people that don't show us honor. The way we're going to help assist them is by loving ourselves, rising wherever source is calling us to rise to, and trusting that whoever is really for our highest good will come into our movie. So the people that are the helpers, the clients, the friends, the family, you'll start to draw in a higher frequency of beings. And this is where we have to be really mindful that we're not attached, because maybe I had a year ago the clients I was working with, I may not be working with any of them now, or maybe just a couple. And as a healer, what I have observed, and not even a healer, I am a healer, but as a human being, what I've observed in every way is that whoever is for your highest good to be in your movie will come in, show up with love for self and for them, and keep expanding. So if we stop thinking that, oh, I must have done something wrong because that person doesn't hang out with me anymore, or I need to attach and codependently manipulate this best friend because they're not doing what I think they should do, we will have such a better loving experience when we love ourselves and trust that whatever is for our highest good is coming to us now, and whatever is no longer necessary or no longer serving us is fading away. And we don't have to cry and we don't have to be angry. We don't have to say hateful things because someone knows they need to go in a new direction. We don't, like as a healer, I don't have to attach to my clients and guilt trip them for not coming to an event if they haven't been in a while, because I understand they are on their own journey and they may at times feel so drawn to my energy and they're drawn to that light, they're drawn to the truth, they want to heal, they want to come back to their own alignment. And at other times I've had clients that are like, oh, she's intense, like she's not going to play my victim game, and she actually expects me to show up and she expects me to have honor for myself. She has a lot of like high expectation of integrity here. I don't really think I'm ready for that. I'm going to go back over here, hang out with these people that, maybe we get drunk and high together and there's not as much calling to come into alignment. And that's something we need to not take personal. If you're a woman, let's say, and you have a husband that's an addict, and he keeps going around his addict friends and he keeps choosing to listen to his woundedness and he keeps choosing to suffer through that addiction, don't take that personal, but do love yourself and do set healthy boundaries, because until he's ready to heal, he's showing you he's not honoring you by doing that. So if we're attached and codependent, we stay anchored to these heavy energies and then we become angry, we become hateful, and we want to fight them back. And I think that, like when we talk about this marriage thing, there's a lot of people that they're on like a team. And I think one of the ways we know that we're in alignment is when we're not playing the them against us game. If I'm saying like it's all about them and they're wrong and I am right, we're playing the them us game, and that's creating separation. But if I show up with unconditional love, I can understand and have compassion for this human that is so fearful of allowing someone to be gay in their midst because they've been taught how wrong that is and that it's evil. And I can have compassion for that and compassion for the place where they are. I can also see that it's not causing them joy, it's not helping assist with love, and it's not of a higher vibration. So I can observe that, but I don't need to hate them back. I don't, and I honestly don't feel like if we all pay attention, we'll realize that doesn't help us to heal anything. If we're hating each other because they're not doing it the way we think they should do it, instead, love them. So here's the thing, when we show up in any situation, someone's hateful to me, Tawnya, you suck. You think you're a healer? You suck as a healer. Blah, blah. They're saying stuff. And I'm listening, I'm observing, like, whew, what is this? Observing, observing. Okay, go into meditation, processing. And this is where meditation's so vital. We get quiet, we go into our innermost self, and we tune into higher self, the higher aspect of our awareness, and we process and we discern the energy. We come up with understanding, greater awareness. Now I know how to respond to the situation. And we'll eventually learn how to move in a moving meditation to where you don't even need to go lay down and close your eyes. You can just stay present 24/7, conscious and awake and aware everywhere you are, observing. And you don't have to take their hate personally. You can respond with love. So someone could be saying hateful things, and this happens to me. This has happened and I don't have that happen to me much, but when these times have happened, I speak truth to that person of what I'm observing going on in them. I tell them, you are love. I hope that you will remember that you are love and that you are light, that you are loved and supported. But I feel that this energy that you are projecting on me is not healthy, and I will not tolerate that in my sacred space. So I pull my energy away. I express my boundary. They choose what they need to choose from there, and they may still think I'm their enemy because that's what's going on in them. But I show up with love, and then I love myself. I don't go in and shame myself and go, oh, Tawnya, you suck. Like, people are going to not trust you because there's people saying stuff. Like, what if they don't love you anymore? If my ego got triggered and I wasn't staying conscious, that would happen because it's happened to me in the past where I go into that place of self doubt. Then I have to degrade myself and shame myself because someone thinks this, or I become very defensive. I have to prove myself to all of them. And if we can keep ourselves more calm and centered, we just respond with love. If we have a negative thought, let's say the violent act is caused by yourself, because some of you are your own worst enemy. And so let's say one of you listening, you just really have been mean to yourself. Like, you look in the mirror and you see your body and like, oh, I hate my thighs, I hate my this, I hate my that. And then you're out with your friends and you're just like, oh, that woman's a bitch, I hate her. And you're just in a pretty crappy place, let's say. Because sometimes it happens. We choose repeatedly to focus on thoughts of low vibration, and we start to experience the reality of that lower vibrational process. So if that's happening, the moment you have awareness and you catch your thoughts saying, oh, you suck, you're so fat, catch your thoughts right then and just say, oh, I love you. We are getting better and more aware every day. I am going to treat you like my own best friend. I am so sorry that I've been saying those thoughts, and I'm going to start loving myself. I'm going to make a commitment to show up with love. I'm going to make a commitment to take better care of you and go and, like, I teach this in my workshops. I'll tell the people to look in a mirror. Like, when you're brushing your teeth, look in your mirror and really connect with your soul. Don't just shallowly, superficially brush your teeth and not even see yourself, or be looking in the mirror for whatever blemishes you have, but actually look in the mirror and connect with yourself, especially on days that you don't feel very confident and you don't feel much love. Maybe you're craving love from other people. I need a boyfriend, then I'd feel okay. Or, okay, I've got a boyfriend, now I need to have a baby and the baby might love me, like, because I don't feel safe. Go and get to know yourself and connect with yourself. Show up with love. And when you catch yourself in those shameful thoughts, maybe you flipped out on your friend at work and you lost your shit because you were really stressed out. Ah, you regret that. You're in your car processing it. Go rectify it right away. Talk to your friend if you can and say, you know what? I am so sorry. You did not deserve that. You did not deserve for me to lash out at you. I am so sorry. I was really feeling stressed. I had a lot on my mind, and it was really not the aligned choice to vent and just project that on you. Please forgive me. And most people, if you are genuine, they're going to forgive you and be like, you know what, girl, it's cool. I've had those moments, but thank you so much for saying that. And then you love yourself through that. Instead of, this is where the ego will seduce us. A person lashes out at their coworker. They project all this anger. They go in their car, have consciousness hit them. Oh, I probably was a little rough on her. Ah, no, she's a bitch. She deserved it. Ego just came in. So when we have that awareness coming through saying, maybe I was a little harsh and I could go and say, I'm sorry. And then we have to, no, justify it. I'm right. She's wrong. Ego. So if we can really catch that and we can have awareness, we can have a healthier experience in every part of our life. And when we can do that and honor ourselves, we love ourselves instead of, if I can't acknowledge my behavior hurt another, then I have to make them the enemy. And then when I'm conscious, moments of consciousness come in, I feel bad and then I self-loathe and I get heavier and I start to hate myself. And this is not the direction we want to go. And as we're evolving, we're being guided to be the love. We're being guided to realize that we are light. And when we come lighter, when we talk about the word enlightened, enlightenment means I'm lighter. Like I'm lighter in my energy. I am more of light. I am love in action. But if I'm not awake and aware and I'm unconscious in my behavior, I'm very heavy, angry, vengeful. There's no enlightenment there. It's heaviness, it's dense, it's painful, it creates a lot of suffering. So I'm going to take a pause here and see if anybody has any feedback or questions. And if you guys want to call in, I can do a live reading today for whoever wants to call. So any feedback?
There is something from Ron. And
Okay.
Ron says, what Tawnya says about forgiveness and entering situation with love is how we handle our tense relational moments. We grow closer in each instance, and we have fewer and fewer tense moments the more we handle them in a space of love and kindness instead of judgment and ego. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes. And that is like Ron, in case any of you don't get it yet, he's my husband. And so, yeah, and he's right in that because we both came from relationships that there was not really healthy communication. And when we found each other, I had done a lot of work on myself. He had done work on himself, and we came together and we made that a very important part of our relationship that whatever happens, we're going to deal with it now. And we're not going to just hold that anger in and be quiet and play mind games and think they should figure it out. They should know why I'm mad. We're not going to do any of that because in order to have a healthy relationship, we need to have clear communication. And if both of our agenda is love, we're going to do fine. If our agenda is about being right or wrong, we're going to have struggle. And so that's true. What he's saying is we really, when we show up and something could happen, like there may be a situation that I don't understand his intention and how he says something. So I'll ask, what was your intention? Like when the way you said that, like it didn't feel very loving. And then he might have to have a minute to process that, like, oh, well, what? And there might be that moment of a defensive, I don't know about this. Like, I think I'm fine. But as we process that and we'll come and look in each other's eyes, and then he'll be like, baby, I am so sorry if you felt like there was anything, because my alignment is totally about loving you. And we'll kind of talk through it. And there might be times that something got triggered from my pain of my past, or times where something got triggered from his pain of his past. But when we show up together, we can work through that. And we don't go to bed angry. That is a really good rule. I mean, I don't even think of it as a rule. I think it's a great intention. If you can show up with your beloved and intend to have clarity of communication and be there for each other, even if you maybe aren't understanding what's going on with somebody, like they may have an emotional day. There was like a time where I was having, and I kind of talked about it in here, where I had a lot of just some women in the community just being straight up messed up to me, and I was like, what's happening? And I did take it personal at that time. That's why what I'm talking about today, I have had to learn how to process this and not take things as personally. But there was a day I did, and I was laying on the bed and I was just crying. And Ron just came and laid by me, just held me, laid there, didn't say anything, and just was with me. And every now and then he would just be like, are you okay, baby? I'm so sorry you're hurting. But he was just holding space with me. And honestly, I feel like there's times like, and there's times I've done that for him. If he's hurting, I just hold him and say, oh, you're amazing, baby. I love you so much. And if we can show up for each other like that, it's beautiful. And we have a beautiful relationship. But before we could have that, I had to know on my own how to have that for myself, and he had to learn on his own as well how to have that for himself. And he says I helped him with that, but we've worked in that process. And so, whatever you guys that are watching are going through, if you're struggling in your relationships with someone else, I promise you, it will benefit you to put the time into self. And the reason I lead so many workshops and things is not just because that's like, "Oh, I need to make some money. What can I, come up with a workshop?" It's from the heart. And these workshops I see are changing humans' lives for the ones who show up. But the ones who make excuses, the ones who want to compete and compare, the ones who don't want to really go deeply into what they need to heal, they won't stay and last long with me. And that's okay. I honor that. I honor that maybe they're just not ready for the intensity, because as I'm very gentle, I also am just like a light. It's like laser beam right there. And we focus on healing that. And so the clients I summon in, we work great together. But each of you may have, maybe you don't even live where I live and you work with people in your area. You want to put time into that self love. So if there's events that you really feel help you connect with your soul and help you to remember you're a soul and help you to heal the pain of your past, put energy and time into that. Like, dedicate your life to healing and loving yourself and then doing other stuff. Everything will change on this planet when we each choose this. But most of us make everything else more important. When I see the collective and the suffering, it's because our priorities are out of alignment. We're making our priorities about making money, or our priorities are about our status, or our priorities are about being right. And we put a lot of time and energy into working harder, doing stuff, being busier at the cost of our own self love. And all that's waiting for each of you is yourself to come home to yourself. Like, your innermost self is just waiting to be acknowledged and waiting to be loved and waiting to be fully accepted. And when you can do that for yourself, you're going to be able to share that with others. And until you can do that with yourself, you will not have the highest relationships with others. Simple as that. You will have codependent relationships. You will have, passive aggressive relationships. You'll have a lot of drama. But if you stop with the drama and the distractions and you focus on self love and you do the work that you need to do, which isn't exactly work, I think people get scared of that right away, like work, but it is constant awareness. That's all it really comes down to. Is I make a pact and I set an intention to remain continuously and constantly awake and aware in my own life. I'm going to show up and be conscious. I'm going to show up and love myself no matter what happens. People may hate me, they may say hateful things. I'm going to know that no matter what they say, I'm awesome and I love myself. Okay, now they're saying this, they're really testing me. It's okay. I'm still awesome. I still love myself. Maybe that moment I start to believe in their lies and I start thinking maybe I suck. Okay, wait, I just thought I sucked. It's okay. I love you. I'm awesome. I love you even though you thought you sucked for a minute. It's okay. And so we're constantly coming back to that place where we respond with love and we don't ever need to participate in that heavy game. And if we get back to the laws of attraction, which everything in the universe is operating by, whether you want to believe it or not, it's vibrational frequency. It's a vibrational universe. So if I'm focused on the problem in my relationship, I invite more problem. If I'm focused on the love in my relationship, how much I love stuff, how much I adore this and I respect that. Like today, I swear, I told Ron, he's like my genie. Like this morning, I just woke up and it's like I didn't even say anything. And he's just like, "Baby, do you want this? Hey, love, I just did that for you. And would you like this?" And I was just like, "What is happening?" It's like my personal genie. Like, you're just answering all my callings and I'm not even talking. This is awesome. And I just hugged him and was like, "I love you so much, baby." Because that is what's going to invite more of that, is me celebrating that love and saying how much I love him. And on Facebook, when I'm always like, "I adore my beloved," and some people probably get sick of it, but vibrationally, I'm putting out gratitude and appreciation. And that is because I am freaking smart. And I know that when I focus on that vibrational alignment, I am welcoming more of it. So if I'm like, I've worked with clients, I've taught workshops on abundance and financial prosperity. It's the same exact recipe. If I'm focusing on being broke and I talk about it, "Oh, I'm so broke. my friends are like, hey, Tanya, you want to go to a movie? Oh, I can't. I'm broke, man. I'm so broke. I wish I had money, but I don't. And then I'll get resentful of all the people that have money. So vibrationally, I'm going to stay in that heavy place of being broke. Or I could respond different. I've got $10 to my name. Hey, let's go see a $3 movie and then we could get a burrito. I am so rich. Let's do this. And I can focus on the abundance that I do have. Or maybe it's just not the best time to go to the movie. And I'm like, I got $10 and it's growing every day. And I can be grateful that I have $10 because I might be driving down the street and see someone homeless and they look like they're really hungry. And man, that puts it into perspective. I am in a car. I have $10. I'm freaking rich. And so, if we start vibrationally focusing on how rich we are, how blessed we are, how abundant we are, everywhere we look, I might see people like some girl tells me she just had this breakthrough situation and she got this awesome job and she's going to make all this money. And if I'm in a low vibration of jealousy, comparing, competing, I'll be like, oh, yeah, oh, that's awesome, girl. And they'll be like, whatever, she probably did whatever. And I'll start getting into my little story of drama of why she probably manipulated that. And I'll start to be competitive and compete with her. I've experienced this with humans. When I'm really happy and high vibration, I can sense it in humans. Like they're kind of pissed about and they're kind of jealous. And, oh, who do you think you are? Why are you so freaking excited? Why are you telling us? Like, what are you trying to convince us? And I've had people say it. But what I see is that they don't get it, that I am celebrating my life. And in doing that, I'm actually raising the vibrational frequency and it's bringing more beauty into my life. So I'm going to keep doing it no matter what people think. If people think I'm crazy or if they just think, oh, Tanya talking about how awesome her life is again, fine. That's fine. But I will tell you, if you watch me and you see how awesome my life is and you don't compare to me and you don't compete with me, you could learn a lot just by watching. And you could learn a lot by shifting your focal point to being a participant in your own movie of celebration, of expressing your love, expressing your gratitude, and talking about how rich you are. You do that long enough and you look at, wow, she got that awesome job. She's so abundant. Abundance is everywhere. Like everywhere I turn, people are just having magic happen. This is awesome. Magic is everywhere. It's like surrounding me. I am drawing magic to me like a magnet. That's how I live. And I don't compete with them. I'm like, that is awesome, girl. I'm so proud of you. I have clients who have had huge breakthroughs from working with me, and then they go on to be very successful at different things. And I'm not going to sit around and be jealous and like, oh, she's really successful. And yeah, I don't know, like maybe no one really thinks I'm successful. No, who cares? Like, I'm going to celebrate their success and be grateful for them and grateful for how I help participate in helping them with that success. And that's going to keep me drawing in more success. That is the self love alignment. So I'm going to pause again. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to share on that?
Nope. But
Okay.
let's ask everybody that's listening to call into 919-852-2121 or Computers 2K Voice. And I know you're out there and you should
Yes.
log into chat.
Yeah. Log into the live chat and ask us a question or maybe give us a situation that you're like, Tanya, your self-love thing sounds really great and all, but what about if someone beats me up? Or what about if I went through this? Like, just ask me. Let's bring it in. Last night, I asked the girls in our workshop that, and I said, tell me something that you think is unforgivable. And I just wanted them to tell me something so I could respond and show them that no matter what they're going to tell me, we could respond in love. And so one of the things that came up was like, what if you've been raped? And the other one was like, what if you've been abused and assaulted and like physically harmed? And I will tell you that both of those situations, I've been through both of those things in my life, and you absolutely can respond with love. And the first test with abuse or rape is to show up with love for self. And when I was younger, I didn't do that at first. I showed up with self-loathing and shame, and I felt like I had done something wrong, and I was embarrassed, and I had all that energy. And so it was really tricky to heal that for a while. But when I got to that place that I could realize, you know what, that was not my fault. I did not deserve that. But I totally love and accept myself for who I am. And I am still pure and I am still innocent and I'm still beautiful. And even though other humans made choices to cause me harm, that is not my fault. And that is not something that I'm going to carry poison in my body another day. And so I could then show up with love and forgiveness And I was talking to the girls last night. I was like, forgiveness doesn't mean you're saying what you did to me is okay. Forgiveness means I'm no longer willing to carry around this anger and this hatred inside of myself because of what you chose to do. And when we're in a place where we feel like we can't forgive and we're holding on to anger and hate, in essence, we are taking poison pills of anger and hatred, and it's really hurting us and it's really not hurting the other. Or it could, if we're like lashing out, it could actually cause them harm as well. But the point is, no matter what happens to us, we can choose to show up with love for ourselves. A traumatic thing happens. Whoa, I did not deserve that. What am I learning from this situation? I love myself no matter what happened. I am a beautiful person. I deserve good. I deserve love. And this human, though they hurt me and though this was off and it was out of alignment, I will remove myself from them. I may have to stand up and testify in court against what they did. There may be a lot that I'm called to do or to embody my courage and my power, but I can do that with love. I can be loving for myself and I can still forgive and release the anger from that experience so that that human will be on their way to heal in their own time and I can heal myself. But I don't need to hate them. And I feel like we're taught to hate. That's not a natural response in us. Really, we're taught that. We're taught by when we're little, we see our parents hating others and talking bad about other people and thinking that that's unforgivable. And we go to religions that say this is unforgivable and you're going to go to hell and it's a sin. We're taught that. But in our true nature, in our true divinity, we are love and we are light. And that is our highest alignment. That is our highest response to anything. And so if you start to show up, laws of attraction again, if we start to show up with that love, we are going to attract more of it. So you see where this is going? It's the perfect direction for where you really want to go. No matter how evil the ex-husband was, no matter how hurtful that coworker was, no matter how vengeful that ex-best friend was, you send them love anyway and you rise and you choose differently and you learn lessons and you draw in higher vibrational humans and higher vibrational experiences because you refuse to show up with anything but love. It serves your life and then you become this like amazing shining light beacon of love vibration that anyone in your midst can feel the frequency of it and they're just the ones who will want to help and assist you. They're going to just be summoned in like, I just want to be near you. I have clients and family and friends who've said that like, I just like to be near you, Tawnya, like just hanging out with you. I feel awesome. Like I just feel empowered after a talk with you on the phone for an hour. And I'm like, awesome. Like that makes me feel fulfilled and happy to know that that vibrational frequency is actually supporting a fellow sister or brother and helping them remember how beautiful they are, how powerful they are, and how lovable they are. So we'll
Okay.
pause again. Anybody want to call in?
Ron is saying, what if a white man shoots 9 black people in a church?
Mm-hmm.
And then he adds, all I heard on the media and in the courtroom were family members of the deceased forgiving the shooter. Wow.
Yeah. And what a beautiful, I'm glad Ron brought that up because what a beautiful, like, public experience that's going on. Like, this is getting a lot of publicity, but what a beautiful way that these humans are showing what they live and that no matter what happened, they're not saying it was right and it was traumatic and it was terrible and tragic, but they are refusing to become the hateful energy because hateful energy came in and it projected anger and fear and harm to someone. They don't have to participate in that. They can see what happened and they can send love to that person, even if that person has to go to jail and has to have a consequence for their action. The humans that were there that day don't need to hate them. And it's a huge thing that we're here to evolve because for so long, like I said, we were taught way back in the day to like go out in the streets and watch them get stoned or go to the guillotine. And it's like a public thing. And I've always, when I watch that in movies, I'm like, what is wrong with people? Like that is so off to like take pleasure in someone being tortured. I don't understand it. But we've been taught that. We've been taught to show up with anger and, yeah, cut off his head. He deserves to suffer. Like if you watch the movie The Green Mile, there's the family that comes in and they're like, you need to burn in hell for what you did. And they're so angry and they're crying. But no matter how much they hate that person, it doesn't make them feel better and it doesn't bring back their children. But if they love themselves and they can send love and forgive that person, they can heal the loss of that experience. They can heal it and they can rise above it. And that is how we love ourselves. That is how we actually transcend any experience into a higher experience of love.
Well, I added a comment there and I said, I wonder how they really feel inside, though. It's very easy to go to in front of the media and say, "Oh, we forgive," but how, do they really feel like that inside? That, I think it's easier said than done. When
Oh, there's
something,
definitely a lot of awareness needed to do this. Yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
Ron added, was there response from the heart or to not cause another uprising of riots, and National Guard gassing protesters. One thing is to show to the media how we feel. Another thing is what we feel when we are with ourselves, and I'm
Which you
sure.
can't lie about that. Like,
Uh,
really, you can't hide from yourself.
I think if they put the survivors and the shooter in a ring, there's not going to be love there. There's going to be a
And
lot
it
of
could
beating
be,
up.
and that could be true, but the thing is that really this is where we can get distracted with like what we think they've got going on,
Right.
but what do we have going on?
Right.
That's the
Well,
save time. So like if we can see that there's that can be forgiven and we stay in aligned in ourselves, that's great. There's going to be times that people are going to say stuff and you're going to vibrationally feel that they're full of crap. You know what I mean? They're going to say words that sound pretty, but you can just feel in the energy there's no love here. And that's okay. That's like the process. That's where they are right now. But them saying that and stating that intention is in the right direction of healing. And honestly, only those people know when they're alone with themselves and if they're harboring anger and hate, they know it because it's making them uncomfortable.
yep.
And that's where really every one of us have to do this work ourselves because I can be saying stuff that sounds pretty, but if I'm harboring hate, then I'm going to be struggling no matter what I say. You know, like this is the thing with like celebrities. You see people saying a lot of things that sound pretty, but they're not really being authentic. And when we last night when we were talking about all this, what it got down to is the root alignment of everything I feel in our lives comes down to being authentic, being true to self. If I can be true to myself, and maybe being true to myself at this moment says, you know what? I have love for you, but I am really challenged at this moment to feel like I want to say loving things to you because you have pissed me off. And so I can be honest about that. And I can be honest about, I feel like you have done me wrong, but I still can choose to release you and to forgive you as a soul and realize that you are exactly where you need to be in your learning and you're exactly where you need to be in your consciousness. And I'm where I am in mine. And if I can stay in that place where I can be honest and have integrity, I can heal that. But if I try to pretend that I'm fake and I say, oh, I forgive him, you know, I just forgive everybody. But then when I'm alone, I'm like, oh, I'm so pissed. But I can't let them know. I think this is what happens to a lot of celebrities is they've got this expectation to look like something and appear like something, but they don't feel like really permission to be who they are. And this is one thing you'll never see me doing because I feel like I may have people that love me today for what I'm saying and tomorrow they hate me for what I'm saying. I don't really care because I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to say authentically what I feel. And one day, maybe what I authentically, passionately feel may shift in 6 months and I will even be more awake and aware. That's the healing, that's the journey. So if we can all love ourselves, we can realize we're all evolving and we can all grow and blossom at our perfect time. But setting the intention to show up with love is going to be powerful. So if these people truly mean that, that's really about them, but it's beautiful if they do and if it's genuine, they're being beautiful mirrors of that and teaching that in action. And the people around them will know because they'll feel it. And if they're saying it just to sound pretty on the media, the people around them will know because they'll feel it. Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Cool. So
All
I
right.
was going to read, go ahead.
No, that's it. You go ahead. Let's.
Okay. I was actually going to read I got the most like I get clients will write me testimonials all the time and And I recently got one from a girl, and she was like, I want to write you a testimonial, but it's like been over a month, and I just like figure whenever they're going to do it, they're going to do it. And she wrote me, and she's finally like, I had to just feel the words I need to say, and I really needed to process this. And I'm like, awesome. And so I got this today, and it actually made me cry. It was so beautiful. And so I wanted to read it publicly, and not for any ego reasons, but from my heart with gratitude, and to just share with you her personal experience and how maybe you may relate to that. And if so, perhaps that's why we're connecting, is there is some deeper healing work to do. But she wrote me and she put, good afternoon, lovely. She said, I just returned from an amazing spirit journey. The angels have spoken through me, and now I have a testimonial for you. Transformation and rebirth through love, light, and the angels. I cannot express how grateful I am to Tawnya Love and the angels for assisting me on my spiritual journey. About 3 months ago, I was in the process of soul searching and finding my true self. I was given guidance to attend her Sacred Women's Circle, and I was very fortunate that she did not get as many RSVPs as usual for her that day. Just a few beautiful souls who were feeling the call. But sometimes she gets as many as 20 people or more that can show up. Because of this, she was able to spend one-on-one time with me, and she offered me one of her mini clearing and healing sessions. My cords were cut, other people's unwanted energy that was still attached to my soul, and I was able to clearly see the source of the pain in my life. I had something that had been holding me back my entire life, and this was the first time that I was ever able to clearly see it. Tawnya and the angels helped me to heal a deep-seated trauma that had occurred just prior to my birth in this incarnation. After this, she helped me call back all of my soul parts of my soul back to myself in this current incarnation. I literally felt my soul returning into the sacred space of my heart. There was a sudden deep inhale, like when you've been underwater for a very long time and you first come up for air, which what a great way to express that. From that moment, the angels came to me and began assisting me in my daily life. It took a few weeks for this to become apparent, as I needed time to process everything that had happened. Synchronicities started to happen continuously and kept increasing over these last few months. Everything from seeing repeating number sequences every day over and over, like 111, 222, and etc., to having wild animals approach me with kindness, no fear. In nature, to having times at the river when butterflies would land on me over and over during the course of a few hours. My interactions with everyone became more informed. It just makes me want to cry. Sorry, I'm like, because this stuff to me is like it touches my soul to know that this human has been touched so deeply. Like, sorry, I don't want to cry, but like, it's seriously, I'm just like, oh, my interactions with everyone became more informed, and now I've been able to increase the power of my own meditations and the Reiki healing that I do. During this process, I lost a job that was no longer serving me, only to land the job of my dreams. Ah, that's awesome. The icing on the cake is that I was able to communicate directly with the angels myself during a recent healing retreat out in nature. I sent out my prayers for healing the earth and all of her creatures. Now, in my everyday experience, I am personally witnessing the healing of all those I love around me, my family, and my close friends. We are all healing in this process, and it is beautiful to watch it unfold. I don't believe I could have ever reached that wonderful place of peace and bliss in my life without the help of this made me cry, without the help of Tawnya Love and the angels. She was able to bring back to life something deep within myself that I thought was lost forever. I am eternally grateful and humble to this experience and to all of my future experiences. Thank you so much, Tawnya. It is so amazing the work that you do. Infinite blessings, Reina. So I just had to share that. It's just so beautiful. And I just like, Reina, thank you. And I am so honored and so grateful for what you've chosen and that you showed up and did that work. And it was my pleasure, love, to help you with that. So, that just makes me smile. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Any other feedback before I read our final card for the day?
Nope.
Okay. So the card I drew for today is the Nectar of the Lotus. And it's a picture of Kuan Yin holding a lotus flower. And it says, Divine Mother wishes that those who are meant to feed others be well fed too. Your devotion to helping others has the effect of squeezing the cosmic heart chakra of the Divine Mother. From her heart drips nectar, sweet, sustaining, life-affirming energy that feeds you and allows you to nourish many souls. Like a sacred chalice that overflows when you are full and well and vital, the feeding of others happens effortlessly. So kind of think about when you're not taking care of yourself, how you feel kind of bitter and resentful to have to help people. But when you honor and take good care of yourself, how you love helping others because it's actually overflowing from you. It's not like I'm taking care of others so that they will fill me up, but I'm full and so I let it flow and kind of feel how energetically you might have to shift to get that alignment. You are guided to be fed now with divine nectar from the heart of the mother. There is an endless supply of energy, joy, peace, bliss, and love for you, flowing from the heart of the Divine Mother. Yet sometimes we may experience limitation instead of endless supply. These limits can be a hidden blessing. They could be a sign that our mind and emotional life could use some help shifting from scarcity consciousness into a consciousness of abundance, like I was talking about on the show, truth. As we do this, we tend to relax and flow more easily, tapping into what is needed rather than perceiving restriction. A limit or block in our flow might be telling us that our nervous system needs some time to adapt to receiving higher intensities of spiritual electricity through our system as we become more used to living a joyful, higher vibrational existence, which hopefully next week I'll remember to talk to you guys about because we've been having a lot of like solar flares and a lot of vibrational things happening. So we'll try to get into that deeper next time of how you need to process that energy, rest more, drink water, and let yourself process those new inflow of electrical energy. When we are encountering a limit of some kind, whether through needing to come back into balance or because we are about to break through into a new level of spiritual growth and realization, it is wise to receive divine nectar, to allow ourselves to become replenished and supported, honoring the guidance that is hiding in the limitation that we are encountering. Then it will have served its purpose and the limit can fall away. So think of anything causing you pain and suffering, relationships, job, anything. It's coming to teach you something. And once you learn what you need to learn, it can be released. And it, like her losing the job, could probably was a job she didn't really love. And it was time for her to let go and trust. And in doing so, job of her dreams came in. And this happens because vibrationally that reality is no longer matching her. That could be a partner, it could be a job, it could be some kind of life situation, even sense of identity. And then that can shift when we surrender and let go. We go into a higher vibration and then we experience the new thing that we're calling forth. So I'm just going to kind of stop there. There's 2 more pages of that, but I feel like that kind of brought up what we need to focus on. And so, in essence, divine nectar, what is that? That is when we are connected to our source, when we are meditating, when we are connecting with nature, when we are going and resting rather than doing, when we're exhausted. Our body is exhausted. Oh, but I got to go do stuff. I got to clean the house and I got to do this, this, this. If we start letting ourselves love ourselves more than anything else, everything else will find its alignment because we will love ourselves first and then we will know what we're actually supposed to do. And if we're always busy, it is a great distraction from ever truly loving self. So really think about that. Let that last statement kind of process and marinate over the next week. And I encourage you all to actually choose self-love and to choose to show up with love. Like when anything's happening in your day and you're about to react, like knee-jerk reaction of what you've been robotically taught from fear, maybe train yourself to tap your heart and step away from it and what would love do right now? What would love say? And then listen, because inside of each of you is this amazing wise one that knows exactly how to respond to everything in a higher vibrational alignment and reality than the knee-jerk, robotically trained way. So one thing I'm going to say before we say goodbye for the day is Amnon and I have been talking about like how do we get more funding and things because like we've been doing this show and hopefully I'm not out of alignment and stating this truth, Amnon. If so, you can yell at me later. But basically, Amnon kind of runs this station and he has all these different shows and we're kind of like OPB in that way. where we put out these shows, but there's no funding at this, there hasn't been funding, let's say, but we are ready to call forth funding from the universe for all the shows he's been putting out. And so I'm just going to put it out there that if any of you feel like what we're putting out is helping you, it's inspiring you in some way, kind of like when OPB gets on and they're like, hey, if you feel like we're helping you, you love these songs we're playing, you love these shows, send in a love donation, send it in. And I don't know, we could work out all of the logistics of it, but to start out, I could put my own PayPal information, which is just my email, tanyaangel@gmail.com. And if you want to send a love offering, just write on there, this is a love offering for Tawnya Love Show. And I'm going to encourage Amnon to state this as well on his website somewhere, like, right, if you feel these shows inspire or assist and help you in some way, consider sending a love offering. And he could set up his information, and maybe each of the shows could have the host's email. And so that's my solution for right now. And the other thing is to think of, if any of you that are listening are business owners and you have some kind of business that you'd like to advertise, we could also work with you and put some advertising on the show that's aligned, because that's important to me, that it would be aligned. Like, I'm not going to have a Budweiser commercial, for instance, on my healing site. But if it's something that's healing related and it's aligned, contact us. And it could be something that you use as an advertising situation, and then you can write that expense off. And all of you listening, if you send a donation and you want to send a love offering, send it and mark it friends and family, because then there won't be other hidden charges. And just put, this is a love offering for Tawnya Love Show. And I'm going to encourage Amnon to pass that on to all the other show hostesses and hosts, that they could also state that at their show. And we really rely on your support listening, because we're doing this. I've been doing this for about a year, and I really receive no financial abundance for it. But I feel like I deserve to, and I feel like all the hosts deserve to, and I feel like Amnon deserves to receive funding for what he's doing every day, because this is work for us, and not really work to me because I love it, but it is effort. We have to put this on. We have to commit our lives to this. So if any of you want to make a donation, again, you could send it to tanyaangel@gmail.com, TAWNYA, angel@gmail.com, and I'll let Amnon take it from there as far as what he wants to do. But we will be so grateful and appreciative for that help and support, and it will help us to keep doing what we want to do so that we can expand in greater ways. So I'm putting it out to the universe. I'm leaving it up to you, the fans and the listeners and followers, that you will listen to your hearts and respond. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And this week, really watch yourself. Am I showing up with love? Am I showing up with honor? What would love do? Okay, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a blessed day. Namaste.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tawnya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.